Hey friends, TUXX here. This is a buy request video. People have asked me, hey TUXX, what is better, the Sony NW-A306 right here, or Astell Kern Alpha, okay, which I just recently did an unboxing for, okay? And this is kind of a loaded question. First off, I do want to say this is not apples versus apples. This is a $350 player, and this, when it was originally released, was a $1,100 player, okay? This is something which you can get used substantially cheaper these days, but it's still a pretty amazing player. Okay, now, if money is not a problem, okay, and if it's like you're just saying this player versus this player despite cost, okay, here's the facts, okay? This player here, the Astell Kern, does sound amazing. It really does. I've been listening to it a lot over the last couple of days since I originally did the unboxing of this, and it sounds great, okay? I really do like the crispness, the sound field, the separation of this particular player, okay? And I think you'll like it too. There's a lot to love about it, okay? But there is some differences, okay? The Sony, even though it's a much cheaper player, does have many more options as it comes to EQing and that kind of thing. So when it comes to the EQ on the A&K Alpha, it looks like a pretty great EQ. We got it opened here, and we have what looks like about 12 bands or something. It seems very full featured, seems very good. Lots of bands to play with, but you know what the truth is? The truth is it actually has a lot more bands than what you see here. Let me go ahead and show you here. You can slide this, oh, it's already to the side. There you go. So you can see there's a lot of bands here. This is probably the biggest EQ out of any DAP player I've ever seen before. So without counting them, what, 20? It's a lot of EQ, okay? It's more than you possibly need, okay? Very good. And if you think that's all, there's more. There's more. You hit advanced here, and here you can actually go ahead and shape via like almost like a oscilloscope the sound, okay? And this is by band, and down here there is frequency and gain. So there's a lot of ways of customizing this EQ, and it's much better than what you'd think, okay? Now the funny part about this is that while using this EQ here, actually you can make it sound great. You sure can. But I found my favorite setting of all was to turn it off. The natural A&K Astell Kern EQ settings are the best, okay? It sounds amazing just like it is, okay? And I should mention that this particular player here has more power than other players, okay? And that's a big plus, because of course we know that one of the flaws, one of the hardships of the Sony player is the fact that they felt like it needed to have a limiter. They felt like we wanted to make sure that Americans didn't, and again, the reason why I say Americans is because in Japan the limiter is not there, but in America they put a limiter on here, so it's a situation where when you actually play something, it's gonna not let it go all the way loud, okay? That's something which you really, at least right now, I don't know a way of avoiding, to be honest with you. So that's something to consider, you know. And maybe perhaps this EQ, now the EQ, you know, on here we have jazz and rock and all that type of thing, and it sounds fine, and I use them, you know, but I would say that none of them are as crisp and clear and well-defined with separation and just overall tone as the A&K. This unit sounds better, it really does. But the part I can't figure out is that, is it because this has more power so I can actually, you know, hear the differences in that huge honking EQ, you know, or is it a situation where this has more filters? And it does. It has a vinyl filter and has, you know, Sony's all sorts of different audio filters that you can do, you know, definitely more filters. And it's not just EQ, these are sound filters, you know, that, you know, there's upscaling and all sorts of things you can do on here that you don't have on here. At least I haven't discovered it yet, you know. So I would say that as far as feature-rich EQ, this one has the bigger EQ as far as a standard EQ goes. You know, this one here has more different sound filters you can put on it, which all are premium, like things you find on expensive Sony DAP players. These aren't like weird little things you're never going to use. These are, you know, top-tier premium features of high-end, expensive Sony DAP players that they put on this little $350 NW-A306, and that's part of the charm and the reason why people love this player so much is you have those premium filters of the expensive Sony DAPs on this little $350 player, which again sounds amazing. But when you actually compare it to the raw power, this huge beast here has a bigger battery, okay? And it just ultimately, it's much louder. It has an amp in it. It sounds louder. Like, I don't even listen to this thing all the way loud. Like this one here, when you listen to it, basically it has a dial over here. I listen to it like 112 is plenty loud, you know, and it goes up much louder than that. In fact, I found myself yesterday turning it down into the 80s, and that was still rocking. It was still super loud, you know. It goes up much, much higher. So it's a thing where this one here I keep cranked 100% of the time, okay? And that is a very enjoyable, good volume with the right headphones. But this here can support all sorts of headphones, okay? And can be cranked louder than you need it to be. And another thing about this is, and both these players sound great. This one, of course, with the limiter, you keep it cranked. I keep it cranked 100% all the time, 24/7, okay? But one thing I will say about, like, more expensive players, like in my Corvette, I did mention this before in the unboxing of this, I can crank my Bose, you know, premium system in my Corvette all the way, 100%, and there's no distortion. It's just loud. It sounds great. It's super impactful and loud and good, and it doesn't distort. Like a lot of car stereos, you know, start getting distorted if you turn them up too loud, you know, and that's not a feature. That's terrible, you know. But this one does not do that. It just gets louder and louder and louder and louder, and it does not stop until you're like, okay, my ears are hurting. This is plenty loud. I'm going to turn it back down again, you know? So anyway, I could talk a lot longer about this, but just let it be said, this one here, crazy, crazy loud, you know? This one here, crazy amount of audio filters and things that can make it sound great, you know? And again, what one should you buy? It's a tough call, you know, it really is. I think maybe it has something to do with the budget. This one new is just a little bit less than this one used, you know? So you really probably could afford, if you can afford this one new, you could probably afford either of them, quite frankly. I should also mention that keep in mind that part of the puzzle isn't just the player. You have to have, you know, a high quality MP3. Like you see how that changed color there? This one here is, what is this? Depeche Mode, okay? So this is a lower quality MP3, you know, and to get the very most out of any of these players, you want to make sure you're using the highest quality audio files you can find. And I'm talking DSD, I'm talking, you know, premium DSF files, things like that, okay? And not little MP3s you get from iTunes, okay? Which, nothing against them, you know, but they're not the highest quality, honestly. They're not, okay? And that's something to consider. Another thing which has really caught me by surprise about this player here is that if you're looking at the ways you can organize it, there is this one here. I love how it shows a different screensaver. I love how you can actually search by sound quality, okay? Right there it has high res. You can hit that, and you see there's high res, CD quality, and compressed. Yeah, high res, and then those are my highest quality music files, which is a big plus. Now this one here has MOS, okay, and this one here has, you know, all the normal MP3s, like great sounding FLAC files. Like I don't pay anything but higher quality FLAC files, and a couple choice MP3s I can't find a better version of on here. But this one has something which I've never seen in any DAP that I've owned, is the fact that over here on the right hand side of this, you can hit this DSD, and it has your highest quality DSD files, you know, which is a huge plus. And of course, when you're playing one of these high quality files, this here has a special screensaver. Let me show you. We'll do Van Halen here. I don't think this is the highest quality file on this particular DAP, but so it's like a metallic. It's a more expensive tape back in the day, and it's a nice throwback to cassettes back in the day that you probably remember. Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy these more expensive blank tapes and make a better combo tape, you know. That's cool. Now this one here, if you're playing the highest quality files, it has everything to do with the colors. See that purple there? That means it's the highest quality, okay? These are color coded. This ring changes color based upon the quality of song you're playing, the quality of file you're playing. So if you have all the pieces in place, which include, of course, great music file, okay, perhaps a DSF or DSS file, okay, a great player, which could really be either of these two. The final piece is, of course, great headphones, okay? And you have to be careful because you're going to bottleneck yourself. If you go out and buy, you know, a $1,200, $2,000 pair of, you know, audiophile over-the-ear headphones, you know, this is not going to have the power to power high-ohm, you know, big headphones. However, this one here it definitely has a fighting chance. Okay, it can power a lot, and here we do have several different audio options as far as balanced to unbalanced. There's three different plugs up here, you know, and so you have a lot of options of what you can use. With that being said, if you do have it as far as a balanced connection, it is going to have better separation, it's going to sound better, and it's going to really make those high-end music files like shine, you know. Okay, so to conclude this, which one is better? Okay, they both have their own strengths, they both have their own weaknesses. This one is strength, it has great filters, amazing sound. Its weakness is the volume is limited. Okay, it sounds great at a full 100% volume, but yeah, you really have to crank it all the way to fully enjoy it, and it won't support bigger headphones. This one here, the strength is it sounds amazing. Okay, it will support bigger headphones. You know, it does have all sorts of amazing ways of doing, you know, EQing with the biggest EQ I've seen, but it doesn't only have all the filters, all the high-end filters of this one, you know, so that's something to consider. Plus, this one is, let's face it, it's huge. It's a monster. It weighs a lot, it's large, and it sounds amazing, you know, so perhaps, I guess what I'm going to have to say in conclusion that for home use, I would say this one is the one I would buy, because this one here, you could take it on the road, you sure can, you could take it in the car, but it is big, okay? It sounds amazing, supports all sorts of headphones, big. This one here sounds amazing at full volume, okay? It won't go any higher. If you crank it 100%, you're going to love it. It's going to be great. But, you know, that's going to be about the extent of it. You're going to play this at full volume. At least I do, you know. But it has amazing filters. It has things which you wouldn't expect on a $350 DAP player, you know. And it's got the cool cassette screensaver, which I do like. This one does not have the cool cassette screensaver, you know. They both have great ways of fishing through and finding your favorite, you know, high-end music files. You can make playlists on both of them. Maybe do some videos if you have any requests about how do you do this on this or how do you do that on this. Let me know, and I'll continue making more individual videos on how to make playlists or transfer music or whatever you want to know, you know. But just to wrap this video up, which is already running a little bit longer than I thought it was going to run, okay, they're both great, but they're two very, very different players. So for me, it's very hard to defend one or the other. If I was just going to take one, at least as of right now, I would take this one. And the reason why I'd pick the A&K is because it sounds amazing, okay? And the fact that you have the volume option, you know, and I do miss the filtering on here, and I do miss the little cassette screensaver, but the sound of this really is amazing. And this sound is excellent too, but because of the limiter, you have to have it 100% up to really enjoy it, you know. And there's the highest cassette too. See, check it out. That's like the super high-end Sony cassette screensaver. That's like the highest type of, you know, DSF file will give you that, you know. And you don't get that kind of cassette nostalgia, those member berries. You don't get that over here. You know, you just get, you know, a colored ring that helps you like identify, like right now it's red, you know, which is a lower MP3 actually, or a lower music file. So anyway, guys, that's it. If you have any question about either of those players, let me know. I'd be happy to make some more videos on both of them. And of course, I'm here to help. I will have links for both Astell Kern Amazon store down below and Sony store as well, okay? All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.